Cyber Crimes Act of 2018, which provides for cyber harassment under Section 27. And this is the recommendation she gives, and it is that there is a need to broaden the definition of sexual harassment to cater to all victims, regardless of the context in which the harassment occurred. This can be achieved by amending the Sexual Offences Act to include sexual harassment done by peers in cyberspace. The amendment will help in providing a legal basis for victims to report cases of sexual harassment and hold the perpetrators accountable. She says there is also need for awareness and campaigns to educate the masses on the various forms of sexual harassment and the legal recourse available to them. By doing so, victims are empowered to speak up and seek justice. And of course, there's the right to privacy that was referenced by the Kenya Film Classification Board that is enshrined in the Constitution. Angela, where are the gaps?
The blog already shows the gaps, that what we have is different regimes. So there is, yes, we're dealing with sexual harassment, but they're dealt with differently. So we have it in the Sexual Offences Act, and then we have harassment or cyberbullying in the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. And so what I had even tried to start the conversation on earlier is that we need to start thinking of an online safety bill. So it will have all these laws harmonized in one place. As it stands, there are so many remedies available to persons who have been abused online that it can also give you the, what do you call, the paradox, having too many options or laws that apply, as opposed to just having one regime that will outline everything very clearly and try to define them in the context of the online space and about safety. Because you see, the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act has other cyber-related issues: unauthorized access, hacking, messing with public infrastructure, electronics and things like that. But then now having online safety, everything about child online protection, about women's protection online, we need it in one regime, so to speak, because we have these issues because one law was made before we thought about cyber, then one was made after cyber, but not thinking about women's protections. Hence sexual offense is not really captured in the law. Be that as it may, I don't think that the law is so bereft of remedies. I don't believe that. As a practicing advocate, I believe that we are not reporting enough and we are not trying these cases enough. And what that happens to our legal system is that we have a nice law. It might be ambiguous, as Sylvia has said, but we have laws, okay? But they're not well interpreted in our judicial system. And how do we get interpretation of laws? We get interpretation of laws by people going to court. Okay, you've seen so many times even public bodies asking courts to interpret, what does this mean, what does this mean, because the law as itself is not clear. We like to say the law is very clear. The law is never clear. That's why I have a job because I can say it means this, someone else will say it means that, and I can try and convince the court that it should mean the way it is convenient for my client. You understand? So the laws as we have them might not be perfect, but as you understand that issues around cyber law are very complex, in that we're now talking about cyberbullying. Maybe tomorrow there'll be a new form of harassment online or something else. So it keeps changing and it's very hard for the law to keep up. So instead of trying to keep up with technology, we should strengthen already existing mechanisms and already existing institutions that deal with online violence. Another thing I wanted to say is that you need to look at remedies differently when it comes to cyber harassment, cyberbullying and all this. Because in the ideal world, or in the physical world, the first port of call would be the police or the courts. But this is a different area. This is virtual. So virtual, who are the police in the virtual world? The people operating these platforms, the big tech operating these platforms. So these are the people you should be looking at also as another port of call. We need to hold them accountable. We need to ask them, how are you fixing your algorithms? Why is someone being trolled still going viral? How do you manage your, takedown and content moderation practices? So it's more nuanced than the normal, normal crimes. Again, another issue with this is the perpetrators might be in another country. We've talked about the anonymity, but also we need to look at the transnational nature of the social media platform. You could be trolled by someone in the US, We could be having a very nice cyber law here, but then what happens? Do we have, you know? So the transnational nature of the internet truly makes sense for the big tech to be more liable, not liable, but to be more in control of the content that is on their platform. Before even Kenya serves them with an order to remove this or whatever, let it be that they are the ones to remove it. They're the ones who have a mechanism where a victim says, this post has done this and this. They look at it and they decide that we need to remove it or not. And if not, let the person who's been affected appeal. So you need to look at the cyber laws differently, that there is a quasi-judicial or a semi-judicial framework in the big tech themselves. And I keep telling people to learn about the takedown approaches in each social media platform they use. On Twitter, there are 3 dots. I think the same thing for Facebook, and I think the same thing for Instagram. And what is it called? Instagram. We also have it on WhatsApp. So the 3 dots, just the 3 dots, report. We need to keep reporting. We also, by reporting a lot, we're also helping the algorithm pick up words that might, you know, in Kiswahili we speak, like the Kenyan Kiswahili is a mix of, the Kenyan English is a mix of Kiswahili and English. Sometimes some words will not be picked by the algorithm for being harmful or abusive. So the more we keep reporting, the better the algorithm is at doing its job, which is to filter harmful content. So you need to look at it in a different lens.
Speaking of reporting, from my experience, you know, then Zainab Ismail has shared the same frustration with me. There are fake accounts that pop up, and I was